What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
RadioWhat.com. Yes! What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What Studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. Today on the program, Ambra McPeters. She is the administrator over at the Coho of Conway. What's the Coho of Conway? It's the City of Hope Outreach out there in Conway, Arkansas. And they help out the communities, the people that need. If you need, you find Coho. And check their website out at coho58.org. You know, I've known this lady for quite some time. She's so smiley, and from time to time, she asked me if I could help. And the only way I could help is to play some music and maybe try to help to make the people feel a little bit better in their lives. And I'm happy to do it. Thank you, Ambra McPeters. So let's hear Ambra McPeters' story. She called me and she said, "You know, I got some time to do this podcast." So I said, so do I. I want to hear about you. I want to know more about you. Everyone has a story. All right. So usually I have to call on the phone, but I got to go meet her face to face over at the Coho office. Let's see. Oh, I got to tell you about the shows that I have coming up this week. I have on Thursday, August 1st, it's the Old Post Barbecue, video dance party, karaoke jam going on. And then August 2nd, I'm at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. That is at 8 o'clock, and that's over at the Rab. It's a video dance party, karaoke jam. So Thursday at the Old Post Barbecue in Russellville, Arkansas, and Friday at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Come out, have some fun, sing some songs, play with the people. Now, the Thursday show is family friendly. The Friday show is over 21. That's right. And then on Saturday, I have a wedding. Yes, excited about that. So without further ado, let's get into it with Ambra McPeters. Come on. Getting to talk to Ambra McPeters now. Smiling face I've been waiting for all day. It's so good. That sounds great. I will sit here. You will sit there. You will clip this on. And we're going. Easy as that. Ambra Peters in the house. What makes you famous?
Well, I don't know if I'd really say I'm famous, but I guess a little bit about who I am. A mother. I have 3 children, a 15-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old. My 15-year-old is high-functioning autistic, and my son, my 5-year-old, is low-functioning, and that takes up a lot of my time.
Yeah, what does that all mean? Because I've heard of autism. I don't know what autism is. I have friends who have autism. Here I have another friend that has a dealing with people that have autism in their family, immediate family.
Well, what autism is, it's a kind of a big answer to that because it's so different
Right.
depending on the person that has it and how it specifically affects them. Basically, it's a spectrum disorder affecting communication, social interaction, and physical ability. But it can be varying degrees in each one. So you may have someone that's maybe low functioning in their physical ability. They can't really walk that well. But they're high functioning in their communication. They speak very well. But they may be lacking in social norms in their communication. They don't get the subtle nuances in speech. My daughter is high functioning, and she when you meet her, you wouldn't even know. But hers affects it's completely different than how my son is affected. His is more of, it limits his daily ability, what he's able to do, and he needs extra assistance in school, whereas she excels in her schoolwork. So within my own family, I have varying degrees, on both ends of the spectrum.
So just the 2 children, or 3?
2 of my 3.
2 of your 3?
Yes.
And the third?
She's neurotypical.
Neurotypical, which means...
Not autistic.
Not autistic. Now, yes, these are the things I've heard about autism. Autism is a blanket, a blanket diagnosis. Mm-hmm. There are varying degrees. You just mentioned that. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that there's 2 on opposite sides of the spectrum in your own immediate family. Yes. One that's high functioning, mm-hmm. which means what? Close to quote unquote normal? What you would consider to be someone who can handle things in the real world on their own?
Again, that depends on the person. Mm-hmm. Typically, when people say high functioning, it doesn't necessarily mean that person doesn't have limitations.
Right.
Those terms are more used in terms of how it affects other people around them.
Yes.
So with my daughter being high functioning, she doesn't need a lot of assistance from other people around her. Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't have her own issues. There are, for her, it's a lot of emotional and more of the social connections. Whereas for my son, like I said, it's more of he's limited with his hand use, he's limited in speech, and in social communication. So for people around him, they notice they're affected. They have to, teachers, the classroom has to alter things to accommodate him. So he's considered low functioning. She doesn't need as much accommodation, so the people around her are not as effective, so the term high functioning is used.
What are the ages, if you don't mind?
She's 15 and he's 5.
He's 5, okay. Mm-hmm. And how can you recognize that he's low functioning at this early age? Because I think at 5 I was pretty low functioning too, and I turned out okay.
Right. Well, and of course, low functioning in a child and low functioning adult are
sure.
2 completely different things, but it's based off of where he should be at his age.
I got you.
With, like, when we go to Dennis Developmental and we have the testing done, his IQ testing.
What's the name of the place?
Dennis Developmental in Little Rock. They do.
Dennis Felt?
No, Dennis Developmental.
A dentist. Dennis Developmental in Little Rock.
Yes.
And they help in Little Rock, Arkansas, they help to make a plan for people with autism? Sort
of, yes. And then you go there for diagnosis, and they help get connected to resources and connected to, like you said, a plan to try to help with the specific needs of that child with autism. Yeah. And based off the testing that they've done with IQ on him, he tests as, he's 5, he tests as mentally being 2 years old. And so that affects, that limits what he's able to do compared to other children his age. It doesn't mean he can't ever catch up. That doesn't mean that he won't ever gain those skills. But based off the way that he learns and where he's at right now, that's where they place him on the spectrum.
All right. Well, let's we started somewhere in the middle of your story. Let's go back a little further. We're hanging out here. In case you're wondering why it sounds a little bit different than usual, sometimes I'm in the studios, but a lot of times I'm very portable. So I brought my Zoom H4n Pro over to the Coho offices in Conway, Arkansas. That's the City of Hope outreach, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure, because that's a pretty big part of your life too.
Yes.
And we're here and this is your office, I'm guessing, or a shared office, maybe. Yes,
this is the Oakwood Village office. It's shared between everyone that works here, but I do work primarily out of this office.
Gotcha. Now, we're in Conway, Arkansas. Did you grow up in Conway?
I did.
Oh, wow. Born and raised?
Yes, I was born here in Conway. I grew up in Conway. I moved to Greenbrier for my 11th and 12th grade year.
Just about half an hour north or 20 minutes north of Conway or so, for the people that are listening.
Yes, and I graduated from there.
From Greenbrier?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's the mascot at Greenbrier?
The Panther.
Go Panthers. All right. And what year did you graduate?
02.
02. Mm-hmm. She's a whippersnapper. She's a youngin'. I graduated in 86. I'm an old man. And I feel myself getting older and older, but I finally hit that year. I'm 50. I can kick and stretch and kick. it was a skit on Saturday Night Live that that Molly Shannon did, and she was I don't think she was 50 when she did it, but I was very excited when I hit the 50 mark. So previous to your school days, how did you spend your school days? What did you want to be when you grew up, and what kind of things did you do in school?
I was in the FFA.
Is that like horses and cows and stuff, or?
Yeah. There's different teams you can be on FFA.
Okay.
FFA is Future Farmers of America.
Oh, farmers. Okay.
I was on the poultry team.
Yay, chickens!
So I judge chickens and the eggs and.
How do you judge a chicken?
Well, it depends on which area of the competition you're in. Like if you're on cull or keep, which of the 4 out of the 8 would you keep? Which 4 do you cull? If you're looking,
What's a cull?
Getting rid of.
Oh, okay. I see. This is terminology. It makes it sound a little bit better when you say, "Oh, I culled them." Okay, all right. I didn't.
Which
get
we
rid
didn't
of them.
actually do in the competition. It was just a judging thing of which ones were the good ones to keep, which ones were not, and then same thing with laying hens. Which ones were the good layers, which ones were not, and
was this all the county fairs?
no, it was competitions through school. You know how like you've got the football teams that go to different schools and do different competitions. Well, in FFA, you go to different places throughout the year and do competitions.
Okay.
And then there's a big one at the end of the year.
Dig it. And were you growing the chickens?
No.
You were judging the chickens.
Yes.
So that was your part of the FFA.
Yes.
At what age were you doing that?
That would have been 16, 17, my 11th to 12th year of the year.
And previous to that, you weren't involved in the FFA?
No, when I was in Conway, I wasn't involved in anything. Well, I was in orchestra.
Orchestra, I like that.
It was one of my classes, but it wasn't really an after-school thing that I did.
Did you play any instruments?
The string bass. Yes.
String bass? Mm-hmm. Like the stand-up bass?
Yes.
Like the dum-dum-dum?
Yep.
That's cool. Do you still play string bass?
I haven't in years.
Don't lose it.
My daughter, I got her an electric bass for Christmas, and I messed around on it a little bit, and it's very similar, a little different, but I still remember some of the things. But I would have to definitely sit down with a book and like relearn some things before being able to play again.
Ambra Peters, all you had to do is just is turn it from horizontal to vertical and play that thing, right? Wouldn't it be the same?
Just about. The distance between notes would definitely be different because it's smaller, but but the strings are the same strings, and the notes are in the same order on it. It's just distance would have to be relearned.
They got a big fat bass. Is that you can't march with that? That's not a marching band thing.
No.
That's an orchestra thing.
Yes.
And did you have concerts that you did?
Yes.
What? I did, and like how many concerts a year?
Oh gosh, that was years ago. I don't know.
In front of how many people? Or like all your parents and
yeah,
friends?
it was a school thing. But I did compete in state competitions, and then the people that were selected from the state competitions played in an orchestra all together.
Yeah.
And I've made it into that orchestra every year that I tried out.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun, and that was probably one of the biggest crowds we had is each year at that concert.
Exciting. So you've played in front of people. You've okay. Been some kind of an entertainer of sorts. Now, how many people in the band?
I don't know. That was years ago. It was high school. I can't remember, but I mean, it was
150, 20.
Yeah, it was definitely at least 100 students that were playing at one time. But there was also different levels. So if you were selected, and then they. The first group that were selected played in this one, which is the higher end, and they play students in each one. So it was be a couple hundred at least probably that were playing all there.
And okay, you can brag if you want. First, second, third base. Were there several bases? Was it one base?
There's usually 4 in each orchestra. I usually had first or second chair.
Yeah, yeah. She's not bragging. It's true. No, that's good. That's good. And you should excel in anything that you do. And so you tried real hard, and you got to play the bass. Were there any other instruments in your orchestra time?
No, that was the only instrument I played. Although in FFA I did do more than poultry. I was also on the parliamentary team.
What's parliamentary?
Debate.
Debate. Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. I have no wish to debate you. So, all right. Do you think that might have helped you in your later life? All these things are shaping you in the things that you're doing now?
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, when I was in the FFA, one of the things that we did was, like I said, with the competitions, my teacher, Mr. Breeding, really wanted to see the entire FFA make state. And it was supposed to be his last year. I think he ended up doing one more year after that. But
say his name again.
Mr. Breeding.
Mr. Breeding.
Breeding.
Mr. Breeding. All right.
Sorry, I have a bit of a cold right now. So.
All right. I'll stay as far as I can away. We have our lavalier mics on, and we're plugged in. We're ready to go. You always got to remember your teachers and shout out your teachers because that's a tough job. And do you remember your orchestra teacher?
Miss Winter.
Miss Winter. Mm-hmm. And she took 100 people and put them all together and made some good sounds come out of it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Miss Winter. Thank you, Mr. Breeding. Continue.
He wanted to see all the teams, all the groups in FFA to make state, and so what I started doing with my team, I was captain.
Captain?
Yes.
Excels.
We would start coming in at like 5:30 in the morning before school and practice, and eventually the other teams started following suit, and we did all end up making state that year.
For debate?
No, for the
for the FFA.
For the judging, like the chickens and the cows and all that.
Okay.
So we did end up all making state that year, and it was pretty exciting. But that kind of taught me, what we can do if we put our minds to it. I mean, you got students that are 11th, 12th grade, they usually want to be sleeping in. But we were getting up there early in the morning and getting it and practicing and studying, and we were able to accomplish what our teacher was wanting for before he retired.
So what does judging a chicken entail? Okay. Well, I mean, I've seen dog shows. I'm familiar with that. I've never really
not too
judged
different.
one.
Not too different.
Yeah,
just looking at the qualities.
And you have them walk and peck and do the thing?
No, they were in cages.
In cages, okay.
So I was looking at the feathers, looking at the feet, and the quality of everything, and making sure that they were healthy, would be a good producer, things like that.
And the ones that are cold, their school lunch next day? Or
No, we didn't actually do that, no.
Okay, good. Oh, well, that's all right. I mean, hey, people got to eat, and yes. So, all right, Ambra Peters. We're getting to, am I saying the name right?
McPeters.
McPeters.
Yes.
See? And you didn't correct me anytime, which means you're a very polite person. But if anybody ever gets your name wrong, I encourage you to correct them every single time. Ambra.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Ambra.
Yes.
That's an interesting name. Let's go there. How did that come about? Yay, Mom and Dad. Where did Ambra come from?
Okay, well, my mom was looking through her high school yearbook when she was pregnant with me, and she saw the name Amber, and she really liked it, but it was way too common. So she was trying to think of ways that she could adjust or change the name to make it a little more unique, and then she saw her bra laying on the floor and decided to change the last 3 letters from BER to BRA, and she actually intended it to be pronounced Ambra, but before I was even in kindergarten, I realized what my name was, and so I changed the pronunciation from Ambra to Ambra.
Yes, because that would cause a lot of problems in school. But now that you're an adult, you can always juice it back up and go with the Ambra.
I'm good.
Yeah, okay, Ambra. It's a very unique name. It's the etymology of it was very interesting. I knew there had to be some kind of a story there. Amber is a very common name. Mom saw the bra on the floor.
Yeah.
Ambra.
Yeah.
Ambra. So that leads me to believe that Mom was a pretty interesting person, or is. I'm sorry, is she still with us?
Yes.
Good. Okay, good. And still lives in Conway then?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And how was she? How was she growing up?
I don't know how she...
With you, how was she raising you?
Okay, I misunderstood your question.
Sorry.
I'm like, I don't know how she was growing up because I wasn't around back then.
Well, I mean, what did she... Okay, where is she from?
She's from here in Conway.
Also
for me, growing up,
yeah,
I mainly saw her on the weekends. I lived with my grandparents.
Oh, okay.
They were both sick, and so I stayed there to help them out. My brother stayed with my mom.
You helped the grandparents because they were sick?
Yes.
Oh, wow. See, that's very telling about you as well. And yeah, I moved back in with my grandparents as well. What was wrong with them, if you don't mind me asking?
My grandfather had congestive heart failure, and my grandmother had cancer.
Yeah. I say no to both. That's enough of that.
Yeah. But they did. I lived with them till I graduated high school. I moved in with them about 4th grade. They both lived a long time. Actually, my grandmother's still alive. She beat cancer.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, with his congestive heart failure, he made it until about 4 years ago, because I was pregnant with my youngest one when he passed.
Now, do you remember why he got the congestive heart failure? How do you come about this heart disease? Or
He got it from smoking.
Smoking. Okay. All right. No smoking. There's another point against. I mean, you could smoke if you want to, but there's another point against. Yeah, my mother, she quit smoking the day my grandfather got diagnosed with larynx cancer. Done. That's it. I'm done smoking. Not cold turkey. No patches. Nothing. Just done. I think it was early 80s, maybe 80. But yeah, and he lived quite some time. I think till the early 90s. But Mom beat the cancer. Where was the cancer at?
My grandmother had colon cancer and breast cancer.
Did they take everything off, everything out?
No, she chose not to do anything. She started chemo, and it was making her really sick, and so she decided not to do the chemo anymore. And both the breast cancer and the colon cancer, she lived with from time I was, about when I was little till I was in college.
Yeah.
And when I was my last semester in college, she got the news it was gone.
What did she beat it with? Harsh language? What? Go away, cancer! I'm done with you. What? How do you beat cancer without any treatment at all?
She had faith that it would just go away, or she would pass when it was her time. And like I said, it went away, but about a year ago, it did come back.
Okay.
So she's back fighting it again, but again,
Yeah.
she's not doing treatments with it.
Yeah. Cancer, it's the game. You know, you can fight it. It'll go away, but once you've had it inevitably it's going to come back. It is a game, and sadly, I want that to be gone. So, yes, say no to cancer. And I'm glad she's still around. My goodness, she's a fighter. Tough lady then?
She is. Very
strong?
Very.
Put a lot of that value into you. If you were with her since 4th grade, helping her out, and really she's helping you out too, showing you some good things. So where was you saw your mother on the weekends? Were they mom and dad's hard workers that had to be away from you?
I didn't know my dad.
Okay. I'm with you. Same.
And my mom, like I said, my brother was with her, so she was working all week and taking care of him. And
Yes.
I was with my grandma all week because I was going to school, but I would go out to my mom's house on the weekends, most weekends, not every weekend.
Yes.
To go spend time with her and my brother.
Yes. And my brother and I, same thing, same kind of situation. Mom, single mom a lot. She was married quite a few times. Still,
Mine too.
She's married the 4th time now, but the 4th time's charm. Seems like they're doing very good. But between those times, my brother and I learned a lot of independence. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing you were home alone a lot, or at least home.
Oh no, I was not allowed to be alone at all.
Okay. So all right. So you had the love, you had the protection of people in the house. That's good too. That's real good. So how do you feel growing up like that, or as compared to other people that had the 2 parents, or how do you think it shaped you?
I'm glad I had the upbringing that I did. It's different. It was different than what most people experience, but it also taught me a lot. I was, although I was not allowed to be home alone because they were afraid of me being home alone.
Yeah.
It did create a lot of independence. I grew up out in the country, and so we grew a lot of our food. I had to get out there and work the garden and help to grow it. We had lots of chickens and all kinds of animals. I had to be out there taking care of them as well. We ate the eggs and everything, and so it taught me responsibility.
Yes.
And appreciation, because going back and forth between my mother's house and my grandmother's house, there were a lot of differences, and I appreciate the differences on both sides.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't necessarily one was better than the other, just different environments. And I think a lot of the way that I grew up, it kind of helps me to see the people that are coming in here into the office at Coho and really look at their individual situation, because it's easy to look at someone and judge what they're doing, but once you get to know them and you kind of figure out why they're making the choices they make, sometimes you can see that there really wasn't a choice. You know, they have to do things this certain way because that's the way they have to do it to make things work for them. And like I said, you know, seeing my grandparents' house with both of them being disabled and elderly, and then my mother's house, you know, single mom, you know, trying to get by. So, you know, at my grandmother's house, she's constantly there, you know, always there if I need to talk, always there if I need help with something. My mom was a little busier, you know, she was at work a lot, even sometimes on the weekends when I would go visit. So it was just very.
What kind of work does your mom do, or did your mom do?
She did a lot of work in fast food and in cafeterias and at schools.
Just hard work.
Yes.
Hard work. Nothing that you would want to say, hey, she's got to sit up with her feet, desk job. No. This is hard work. She
worked hard. And then my grandparents, you know, disability wasn't quite enough, so what we would do a lot of times is go to auctions and yard sales and buy things that were broken, and they would fix them. And then we would sit out on the side of the road and have yard sales.
That's enterprising.
And resell the items that they fixed. And
did you help fix those things?
I did some. For the most part, I kind of did my own thing.
Like what? What's your thing?
There would be boxes that the people that just basically junk boxes. Just a lot of things dumped in it, and they might at the auction go for $1 for the box. Sometimes they'd fill a whole table up with them, and I could get the whole table for $1, and then there'd be little knickknacks and different things like that. And sometimes it'd be really good stuff. I got a complete crystal dish set that was like in the bottom of one of those boxes one time that people didn't know it was down there. But I would set my tables up and just put like a quarter on everything, quarter 50 cents.
How old were you there?
I started doing that, I guess, around 4th, 5th grade.
Wow.
And
you know what I got for my 12th birthday? A job. That's right. You did good.
Yeah. I made a lot of money doing that, and then whenever I got about 12, they started letting me work the auctions. So I did that for a while, you know, holding the stuff up, walking around with it while people were bidding on it.
So from what I'm understanding, not necessarily spending cash for you. Maybe you could, you know, go buy some gum if you wanted to, but a lot of times helping the family, throwing some into the pot. Or they let you keep all the stuff you made?
No, the money that I made when I was little was mine.
That's neat.
Yeah.
See, well, you can either give your kids an allowance or make them work for it. And I say, make them work for it. Yeah. You know, I know I did. So you spent a lot of time outside. You said something about you raised the chickens, not with the FFA.
No, not with the FFA.
But definitely for the family. See, all right, now it's coming together. And so you had all your fresh eggs. You played outside a lot, which the kids are not doing these days. They're sitting inside, and they're scared to go outside for some reason. I don't know how. I was outside all day, especially Saturday and Sunday, all day. And I didn't come home till it was dark. And I'm raising a child that doesn't go outside ever by herself.
Yes.
Why? Why is that?
Well, I can't speak for every family,
right.
But for mine in particular, we don't go outside much.
Why?
Primarily my son and his autism, he has a tendency to wander.
Okay.
So, you know, if I look at one of my other kids while we're outside because they're talking to me
sure.
and turn back to him, he'll be gone.
Oh.
And so being outside and playing outside for us is very, very stressful. It's not a relaxing, fun time, at least not for me, because it's high alert time because you never know when he's a ninja.
Right.
He will wait for you to turn your head, and he's got his route and his plan already in his mind, and he's gone.
So no days at the park.
We go every once in a while if he's having a good day, but for the most part, we don't go outside a whole lot. But what I'm doing right now is I'm working on building a 16 by 16 porch on the front of my house, and I'm closing it in with chicken wire. Mm-hmm. And I'm putting a ball pit and a rock climbing wall and his sensory swing and some of his therapy equipment out there, and kind of making an area where we can go outside and be outside and he can play, and I can just sit down and relax and,
Yes.
and enjoy watching him play instead of having to be on this high alert of, is he about to sprint and take off?
Right. I'm coming to your house to play. That sounds great. No, hey, look, we do what we have to. You're surrounding this thing with chicken wire. You're making sure that it's a fortress that he cannot get out of. You have to do what you have to do when you have this type of situation.
Yes.
You know, what's the next thing? Put him on a leash? Well, you know, you might have to at some point. But you are taking the extra effort to make this area so he has some semblance of a childhood, of a fun time. You know, and this is great. You know, Ambra McPeters, say it right. That sounds very good. Now, how far along have you got on the porch?
I'm about ready to start on the roof.
Yes.
You know, a little bit each week. It's a big project to undertake, but
I imagine 16 by 16. That's a pretty good sized room right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
Who designed this thing?
I did.
You.
Yes.
Very enterprising young lady. Yeah, that's very good. Taking care of the kids, you know, and this situation, some people might give up, throw their hands in the air and say, I can't take this. But you're doing the work. And you're not just taking care of your kid, you're taking care of other people's kids that have grown up and are having hard times.
Yeah, I've had some teenagers from the neighborhood helping me with the porch. This summer, yes. They've needed something to do to keep them busy in the summer, and I needed help building it. And so they've been coming over each week whenever I get the wood and helping to put it all together.
And you live here in this neighborhood?
Yes,
pretty
I live
close?
I live right back here behind the building.
Because I noticed you walking in, and that's nice. Hey, if I'm a lazy man, if I can walk to work, I would. That's fantastic.
Yes, I've lived in Oakwood for just about 6 years now. I've worked at Coho for about 3.
Wow, pretty tight knit community back there.
It's improving. That's one of the things that we've been working on through Coho is getting the community members to connect and come together. We just had a vigil actually last week for a community member that passed away, and there was quite a few people that attended that, and getting more interest from the community about wanting to get community meetings back together. And talking to my neighbors about trying to improve things out here. Coho is a big part of trying to help improve things out here, but we need more people that live in the community, like myself, to come up, to step up and help with improvements. Brookside has been a huge eye-opener on that there are things that we need to do as a community to make sure that we don't end up in that position ourselves at some point.
Now, I did a whole podcast with Claudia Fountain. I got to pronounce her name right, too. She said, don't juice it up. It's not Fountain, it's Fountain. We talked about the people of Brookside. What's your take on the people of Brookside? We'll explain that for the people.
Brookside was a beautiful community. A lot of really wonderful people there that have had to go through a very difficult time with losing their community. It wasn't as simple as just moving. I mean, this was it was a real community. They say it takes a village, and they had their village. It was hard to tell who was related and who wasn't because everyone was family. And it was the death of a community, that community, that neighborhood closing down, and it's hard to talk about it.
Right, I'm hearing it in your voice. Now, I know that this happened, and it's passed. All the people have been evicted. Where did they end up?
Actually, we're still working on it.
Still going?
Yes, we have about 10 families left right now.
Because this was 100 families or so that were booted out of this, I guess, a trailer parked type community or a community, and they were trying to move their trailers, and the trailers would break in half.
Some of them did, not as that many really.
Okay, so some of them did get moved.
A majority of them.
Wow, that's great.
I think there might have been like 5 or 6 that broke. A majority of them were able to get moved.
I feel for those 5 or 6.
Not all of the ones that own the trailers took the trailers with them. Some it was deemed before even attempting to move it that this isn't going to make it. But of the ones that were attempted to move, only a few of them, just a handful, actually had broke and had issues like that. And for those that were not able to move their homes, they were helped to find rentals. Some of them actually found new places to purchase, and they went all over. There's many different trailer parks close by where that people were able to move their trailer to. Some of them already had land. They just hadn't got to that point of being able to move the trailer to the land. So some people had already been planning on leaving.
So this gave them a big push, is
Yes.
what it did. Yeah. And the coho was responsible for helping out in some respect, or other people?
Yes, they're actually, it was an effort of a lot of nonprofits here in Conway coming together. Ministry Center and United Way, Bethlehem House helped out, CAPCA helped out. St. Joseph was huge. There was, I can't even think of all the donors, but there was a lot of people that came together and set the table every week and kind of collaborate on how are we going to handle this and what are we going to do. And Coho was there every day for the community members to come in and sit with us and to speak with us about what needs to be done, just to have someone to listen to them. There was a lot of emotion going on throughout all that time, and we provided financial assistance. Us and the other nonprofits provided financial assistance to help the families to move their trailer. Get electricity turned on, get underpinning on the trailer, everything that they need in order to be able to continue on with their lives.
And you have 5 families left.
10
families left. And they're still over in the Brookside area in their houses over there?
Yes.
Okay. And are there how's the prospects on their lives?
Oh, it's looking good. I mean, really, time has been the biggest factor. You can only move so many trailers a day, and we only had a couple of movers within the price range that we could do. I mean, because the ones that were moving them were charging like $1,500. There were some that wanted to do like $2,300 and up, and we were able to cover about half the cost, the moving cost for each family, and they have to cover the other half. And so, going with the more expensive movers wasn't feasible. So, and then the movers that we did have, there were times that the trucks would overheat, rain was an issue. So just different variables that interfered with us being able to move everyone out as quickly as we wanted to. But the rest of the families that are there are scheduled. Their moves are happening. It's going to all be good. Like, everybody is going to get out of there. It's just time.
Well, that's great, and I'm glad we're coming to some closure for the people of Brookside. And I know anybody that's been listening to this podcast throughout, they've kind of heard it throughout, starting with the podcast with Claudia Fountain, and then I had another podcast when we had that Brookside Fiesta over at the church.
Yes.
And then throughout time, and we've been kind of keeping a track of them, and you're providing that time that it's coming to an end. It's coming to a head. So people of Conway, Arkansas, people of Brookside, I guess a thank you is in order for all the people that donated and donated their time
definitely.
and their money and their efforts. So that's, hey, check. One good thing done for the community.
Yeah, so we're still working some things that families need that have moved out, helping them to tie some ends together, but we're just about done with getting everyone at least out of the community.
Okay.
We will definitely continue to be by their side and working with them for a while until everything is back to normal for them.
Sweet. All right. So that's one type of thing that you do for the community with the Coho, the City of Hope Outreach, Ambra McPeters. And all right, so when you were in school, learning from your grandparents, learning from your mom, getting this FFA, learning how to judge and being the best bassist you could be, and yes, I mean doing things to excel. The debate team, how did you do in debate? I don't think we went too far on that one.
I only did that 1 year, and we got second place.
Second place. Hey, 1, 2, you're in the top 2. That's fantastic. And yeah, so any other extracurriculars that you did in school that prepared you for life?
No, that was kind of it for the extracurriculars for me.
Those are the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then after high school, graduated up in Greenbrier, 02. Panthers rule, right? I guess. What did you do after high school?
I went to the Army.
Army. See, these are facets of your life that need to be explored. And all right, Amber McPeters in the Army now. What did you do?
I was a medic.
Yay! All right, I like that. I was a paramedic for a little while in the Florida Keys. Where did you go with the Army?
I actually wasn't in that long. I had orders to go overseas, but I found out I was pregnant with my oldest about the time I got my orders. Actually,
You were what?
I found out I was pregnant with my oldest child.
Pregnant with your oldest? Okay.
About the time I got my orders to go overseas, and so I didn't actually end up going.
So what happens when you're pregnant in the Army?
Well, I was still in my job training whenever that happened, so I had the option of staying in or leaving and coming back after she was born, or just completely getting out. And due to some circumstances I don't feel like completely going into at this moment, I chose to get out.
Hey, you're in the Army, you're out of the Army. Okay. And then after that, where did your life take you?
I worked with mortgages for a few years after that.
Dig it. People getting houses. That's
I
important.
didn't do the mortgages myself. No, I was more the person that they called when there were problems and
fixing problems. Yeah. That's a good thing too. How did you learn about doing mortgages?
I got a job at ICT. It was a call center, and started out there just taking calls that come in, and eventually was hired on into a management position where mortgages that had either payment issues or legal issues or big problems that needed someone to focus on it, not just as simple as just a phone call. All those calls were transferred over to me, and I would email between different departments and phone calls and get them fixed.
So you were the can I speak to a manager?
Yeah.
You excelled in another job. Pow! Go get him, Ambra. Okay, so what year was this? Probably 04, 05, somewhere around there?
Yeah, about 05 until about 08.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go back to school.
So you had the oldest child already, and how was she doing so far?
She was good. At this point, did not know about her diagnosis yet because she was high functioning. And
haven't noticed anything?
And actually, a doctor did tell me when she was 3 that he thought she was high functioning autistic, and I asked him what that was because I didn't know.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, it's nothing to worry about. It just means she's advanced." So I'm like, okay. So I just go on. Now looking back, after having my son, who his symptoms kind of forced me into having to learn more about it.
Right.
There's so many things about her childhood that I would have recognized and maybe done a little bit differently had I been given the proper information when she was young. But
so her growing up, you treated her like any other child.
Yes.
Okay. What could you have done differently?
Well, a diet would have definitely been something I would have done differently. She didn't eat much. She at points I could see like her spine and her ribs, and I was giving her food and she wasn't eating it. She was hiding it, and at that point I did not know about sensory issues, which now that I'm aware of, I'm able to buy different foods and cook different things, and to where she'll eat. It comes down to texture for most of it. And her and Jess actually are pretty similar on what they can and can't eat. Neither one really likes sauce, like not just talking about ketchup and mustard, but like spaghetti sauce, any kind of sauce.
The tang, the spicy?
The texture of it.
It's texture.
Texture.
I don't like soup. Am I high functioning? I don't know.
It's more of they can't eat it, like trying to swallow it, they gag, like it physically does not want to go down. Is it physical?
I mean, as soon as she tries to, trying to get it back up.
Like they can't get it, and I don't know really like.
So no sauce. We fixed that problem. There you go.
Crackers are a lot of what I could get her to eat when she was younger. She called them crunchy foods.
Okay.
So that was a lot of what she would eat. But one thing though that really positive that kind of comes out of that with her sensory issues with food is that she's kind of a super taster. Like she can take a bite of something I cook and tell me every single spice that I put in there. I've told her she needs to go to school to be a chef.
Yes, that's a job right there. No, seriously.
She can tell you exactly what you did with it.
Now, the senses, okay, I just saw something with synesthesia. It's not that she tastes colors, right?
No.
Okay, it's nothing like that. Yeah, I just heard a podcast on that, and it seemed pretty interesting to me.
I don't know anything about tasting colors.
Right. Synesthesia. It's you hear things, and it makes you think of others, like numbers or whatever. But yes, it's a whole nother story. So she's growing up, and you're thinking she's just like any other kid. You're sending her to school, but she won't eat the sauce.
Right. She had problems with food, with eating, and she had a lot of trouble with connecting with other kids.
Okay.
Which I didn't really think too much of. I just, some kids have trouble connecting with other kids.
Right.
But Mike could have approached things a little differently, like with the social stories.
Might.
I might could have.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a little sick
we country,
right now.
Baby,
so.
we country. You might could have. No, it is the cold that I'm hearing. Could be me with my low hearing too. Years of having headphones on, and we're sitting less than 5 feet away from each other. I just popped my ears, so I should be able to hear a little bit better. Still hanging out in the Coho office with Ambra McPeters.
But there are social stories that you can use to help autistic children to learn how to react in certain social situations. And again, had the explanation I've been given when she was younger about high functioning autism been different, then I could have done those things with her, and got her into the therapies that my son is in. It would have been different for her because her limitations were different, but once he was diagnosed, then a lot of things with her became more clear, and we were able to get her into therapy and start getting the assistance for the things that she needed.
So when did baby number 2 come? How old is that one?
He's 5.
That one's 5. I thought you had 3.
I do.
Where's the third?
4.
4. Okay. Baby number 3 is younger.
Yes.
And baby 3 doing okay.
She's good, yes.
Yeah. All right. So you're building a playhouse. You're working at Coho. Now, what trained you to be when you were growing up? As soon as you got out of the Army, what do you want to be when you grow up? What were you thinking? Where were you heading?
When I was young, I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Veterinarian.
Yes.
All right. Taking care of animals. Did you have animals growing up, I guess?
Yes.
With the
we
chickens?
talked about earlier, the
Yes,
chickens
with
and all
the
that.
chickens.
Yes. I had lots of animals growing up.
And dogs and cats and the other, okay, so other domestic animals that other people would have as well. Wow, goats.
And
okay,
pigs and all that,
a whole farm, the FFA. Ooh, and do you have to get the phones at this time of the night? Because it's way past hours.
Yeah, I'm not answering that right now.
Could be important. Helping people. We're still hanging on the Coho. Now, yeah, so you wanted to be a veterinarian, and how far did you go with that?
I didn't, because whenever I was getting ready to, I was looking into colleges and applying, I talked to a recruiter. And the recruiter ended up...
Recruiter said, hey, you'll be a medic. And what happened? No medic at all?
I was told that I would be a nurse when I got done, but then after getting in there and into the training, that was, the recruiters lied to you. So that wasn't exactly what was going on.
So
but,
you got out and you started doing financing.
Yes, and then I decided to go back to school.
You did go back to school.
Yes.
What did you do?
Became a nurse.
What?
Yes.
More facets of Ambra McPeters that are showing up here. Am I saying the name right?
Ambra McPeters.
That's right, Ambra McPeters. Good. Yes. You went and you became a nurse.
Yes.
Where'd you go to school?
UACCM in Morrilton.
University of UACCM.
University of Arkansas Community College in Morrilton.
In Morrilton, yeah. And they have a nursing program there?
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay. That's cool. And what kind of a nurse did you do?
I did a lot of stuff. My first job out of school was at a prison.
Yes.
I went to Little Rock. I also traveled around as the infection control and chronic care nurse in the prisons, going between Tucker Max and Cummins and just wherever I was needed. Really.
Yes. Yeah, Mom was a nurse. Her first job was in the cancer ward, and she said, "I can't take this more than 6 months," and she didn't. And man, you're hanging with these people when they're heading out of this life. All right, so go step by step after the prison. What kind of nursing did you do, and what year was this? This had to be like 2005, 6, 7, 8. No, 8.
No, I graduated college in 2010.
Yes. Okay. So you went back after you did the finance thing, the mortgage thing, 8, and then you graduated in 10. LPN, I guess.
LPN, yes.
LPN. Okay. Cool.
I worked at the nursing homes also.
Yes.
A few different nursing homes.
Still got the nursing thing, the nursing license still, or?
Yeah, I'm not working as a nurse anymore. Whenever I got pregnant with my son, it was a high-risk pregnancy, and then we were having trouble with getting pregnant. I had to take medicine there's 10 years between my first and second one. And,
yes.
And then my third one, we didn't take any medicine, and she just kind of surprised us. So it was back-to-back high-risk pregnancies, and that time of not really doing a whole lot, not being able to get out, not being able to work.
Sure.
Not much to do with it, I really think. It was time to kind of reflect on things of the past, and that's when my PTSD came up from things from events from my childhood and young adulthood, and I wasn't able to handle the anxiety of caring, for someone that's their life is in my hands type of thing.
Right, you got to take care of yourself.
It was a little too much, and I actually ended up coming here one day and talking to Phil about just needing something to do to get out of my house.
Who's Phil?
He's the executive director here.
At Coho.
Yes.
City of Hope Outreach, Conway.
Yes.
Yes.
And so he kind of started me out with answering the phones and stuffing envelopes and everything, and that helped get me out of the house again. It'd been a couple of years since I'd really been out other than doctor's appointments, and it was very difficult to get out of my house.
So you stopped nursing in 12, maybe?
2013.
2013?
I did go back for a little bit between my second and third child.
Sure.
But during
other than that, how are you supporting yourself?
During that time?
Yeah.
My husband was working.
Oh, very good, very good. You have somebody backing you up.
Yes.
I've been married a long time?
Yes, we've been married 7 years.
7 years, yes. All right. May the honeymoon never end. That's cool. All right, so you got this good dude, understanding person that's helping you out, and you guys are working together to build a family, build a life.
Yes.
Very cool.
I feel that although I'm not working as a nurse, what I learned through nursing school and what I learned through my experiences at the prison and at the nursing home have also really prepared me for what I do here, because so many of the people that they come in here, again, looking at, it's so easy to judge someone, but you don't really ever know their story, and until you get to know their story, and then you kind of see that they didn't always have choices. There were not really good choices in front of them sometimes. And just made the best of the situation they were in. I mean, when I went to the prison, there were several people that, after getting to know them, you realize that they could be your neighbor. It's someone that just made a mistake, made a wrong choice, which we all do. They just happen to get caught.
Sure.
It's throughout our lives, there's something that we've done we shouldn't have done.
Absolutely.
And they happen to be the unlucky ones to get caught, but they're then kind of judged for that for the rest of their lives. And getting to spend that time one-on-one with the guys there, it does help me to first stop, and whenever someone's coming in that's from one of those situations, and not just be like, hey, you've got a history, I'm not going to let you get close, I'm not going to learn about who you are or try to help you out.
Well, being the prison nurse, what kind of boo-boos are you taking care of?
A lot of it was pretty typical, just colds and stuff. Mm-hmm. There were things that were more than that, but
you could say or don't say, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
The story
couldn't
get more interesting. The word shanking comes to my head. I don't know why.
And actually, and all the time I was there, that never happened.
Hey, God bless. That's good. That's good.
That never happened.
Excellent.
There were a lot of interesting things that happened that I'm not going to talk about, but
Okay. Hey, I spent a lot of time in the trauma room in Miami, and a lot of things happened. But that's not your story. That's my story.
But I do enjoy this a lot more than I did being a nurse. A lot of the red tape in the world of nursing,
Yes.
and all the paperwork, it kind of prevents you from really doing what you want to do with caring for your patients. I wasn't able to be the nurse I wanted to be because of all the regulations and things that really didn't make sense. It's like, you got to put the person first, but really it was more like the money was first. And that kind of got me down also. I got to the point where I was crying before going to work a lot because I knew that my patients needed me to sit there and to listen and to talk to them, but I also knew that they just got rid of another nurse, so that it gave me a second hall. So now I've got to run both halls, and I've got to take care of all the paperwork and all the getting medicine out for everybody. And there isn't time for people anymore. And it's about it was really about cutting costs a lot and keeping the money down. And
I was in the ER. Treat them and street them. In and out as best you can. Fix them up, patch them up, get them out.
And that wasn't enough for me. And here I get to, there are times I sit down in the office here with someone and they may need me to sit and listen to them for an hour, about something they've got going on. And sometimes there's stuff that I can do to help the situation. Sometimes I can't. All I can do is listen, but it still helps them. And I feel like I'm really getting to do more for people now than I did as a nurse because of that.
So in this job at Coho, you're afforded that time. You could be a counselor if you need to.
Now, I'm not technically a counselor. I'm
As
more of
part
just
of
a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah,
type of person.
helping hand, an ear, exactly.
It's about building family and community, and it's just being here available for the community members how they need us.
Yes. So in what capacity? You said when you started, you were answering phones and stuffing envelopes, and this is in 2015, 16 that we ended up in. And that's right, you've been here a couple 3 years. That's right. Where did you grow from there after answering the phones, and what other jobs are there in the Coho house that you did?
At that point, I was a volunteer,
Okay.
and then I was administrative assistant.
So there are volunteer positions. Anybody out there want to volunteer? We're calling you.
We have lots of volunteer opportunities here.
Yes.
And then I became volunteer director, and then I am now administrative director.
The boss.
Phil's the boss.
Phil's the boss. So, once again, you excelled, Ambra. Ambra McPeters. You're the best bassist, or at least one of them. The second best debater. Pretty good. Good chicken judge. So when you put your mind to it, you excel and you fix things. You have a situation with your family, your kids. If you don't do something, they're going to be stuck inside the house in their room all the time. And you're building this play yard. You're building Disney World for the kids. In your own yard, something that they can have fun in. This is cool. This is real good. You fix problems. You see a situation and you fix problems. Is that something that an administrator does here in Coho?
Yeah, I do a lot of that in here, and I also just sort of, I don't know, the way other staff members have kind of described my role to me is I'm glue.
Okay.
I kind of just help everyone put the pieces together.
Yeah.
So if they're working on an event, and then they need this or they need that, within the administrative team, like I've got the volunteer director. Actually, we're in the process of hiring a new volunteer director right now, but
Okay.
connect with the volunteer director about getting volunteers for that event, and connect with the communications director about getting the event out there and getting the word out so we can get more people there. And
Well, let's talk about that,
Kind of
Ambra.
working
What
in-
kind of events do you have?
We have a lot of events.
And who are these events for?
They're primarily for the communities that we serve, but Conway residents are invited as well. Most of our events are towards the end of the year. We have our Fall Carnival, which you were at last year.
I was there.
And it's an opportunity for the community members to come out and just have a day of fun. We look at what we do for the community holistically, looking at the every aspect of their well-being, which includes mental health. And a lot of the times when you're living in low-income areas like this, there's a lot of monotony in your day. There's work, home, your kids are wanting this, they're wanting that, you're constantly having to say no. Things like Toad Suck and the State Fair are too expensive for families to go to, and they might go and get one thing to eat, maybe ride one ride. Sometimes families spend months saving money so they can go and have a great day there. But our carnival, although there are no rides there, it is a day. The way I like to put it, it's a day of no-nos because everything is free.
Yeah.
The games are all free. The kids get prizes for the games. There's cotton candy and popcorn, hot dogs, hamburgers. There's no charge for any of it, and it's just a day to come together and have fun as a family, and create memories, and not have to have those moments of no, I can't get that for you, or no, I can't do that. It's a good mental health day.
Everybody needs a little fun. So I know we had this. Was it alcohol awareness or drug awareness?
It's a drug awareness barbecue.
Drug awareness
yes.
barbecue. Mm-hmm. That's something that you do often.
Yes, our Hope Home actually puts that on. The men that stay at our Hope Home, they organize that each year. Bring the community out, have people come and speak about drug awareness. We usually have some booths set up with different rehab centers, so that if someone is in need of information or in need of assistance, they can go ahead and get connected with someone that day if they need to, and get started on the road to recovery.
Are you involved with the Hope Home as well?
Not really. Like in administrative capacity, as far as if they need certain paperwork or they need me to send over our 501c3 to get help with the donation they have coming in, things like that. Getting interns to help work over there in that capacity. But no, that's run by John Leland, our Hope Home director.
Hey, he was on the podcast
earlier. He was, yes.
Yeah, we only talked for about 20 minutes because he was trying to wrap up from the show, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I got a little bit of the word out about what they do at the Hope Home, and it was pretty interesting, and the terminology and the I kept saying halfway home no, this is a house where we're taking care of people. If they need a place to stay, they come on in, and so what capacity? And that's only right next door. This is the main office of this area. How many Coho offices are there?
We now have 2 since Brookside is closed. So there's this one and then South Ash.
Oh, okay. And are you in charge of both, I guess, or you're administrator of both?
No, I'm not in charge of the South Ash building. That's really just a more of an academy building.
What is that?
Academy, it's our after-school program.
Oh, that's nice.
So the kids come after school and we help them get their homework done.
Yeah, mom and dad's got to work. Your kids got to go somewhere.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing.
Yes, we do that. And then during the summer we have a program going on right now where the kids can come down and get breakfast and they play games during the day. Today they had a water day. They had a lot of fun out there with the water guns and water balloons and all that.
Yay.
And then they get lunch and then they go home. And it helps the parents a lot because a lot of the kids, they're getting free lunch at school, so they're getting breakfast and getting lunch during the day. And then summer comes and parents' food bill, it skyrockets.
That is correct.
So having programs that help provide food to the kids during the summer really does a lot to help families in poverty to be able to keep going and make it through the summer. Plus, it's a place for the kids to be during the day if the parents are need to get things done, or if they have a job they're working, or whatever their situation is.
Ambra McPeters, you're taking care of people in the community with the Coho, and wow, are you happy in this job? Are you happy doing this?
I love what I do here.
Yeah.
I really like, and I like being the behind the scenes person because I'm not the one that's there working with the kids. I mean, I'm not the one that's over there to help home working with the guys, but being in administration, I get to touch each of those areas in some way through the work that I do in the office, and it's really great being able to be a small part of everything.
Yes. So, what's next for Ambra McPeters?
Right now, just keeping on doing what I'm doing. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Wait, that's McDonald's. I'm loving it. Just corporate things are stuck in my head. I guess they're stuck in a lot of people's heads. And so, what other events? What other avenues do you want to explore?
Yeah. Well, in the fall, after with the carnival, we have our Thanksgiving banquet, and that's really nice because everyone's invited. It's not just our community members. It's anyone that wants to come can be there. So you may have a business owner in Conway sitting beside someone who is homeless, sharing Thanksgiving together. It's not like a soup kitchen. It's not meals that we're taking door to door. It's everyone coming together for one big dinner. So that gives them a chance to connect and get to know each other and fellowship together for the day. And that's kind of one of our goals is to help people see the dignity in each other, and the worth in each other, and that's just a chance to bring two people that may never have met together. And so that's a lot of what we see at the Thanksgiving banquet is just people from all different aspects, all different backgrounds in Conway coming together in one place to share a meal.
See, you touched on something. What's the menu of services that you offer at Coho? What can people come to you for help? What kind of help can they get? Are there services that you offer, or is it tailored to that person?
We have our after school program. We have our Hope Home. We have our gardens, which we produce a small amount of produce in our gardens for the community. But on Wednesdays, we have Bettis Hospital that brings us produce from there.
Who works the gardens?
Anna Ruth, she's our garden director.
You have a garden director.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Anna Ruth, go.
And we have volunteers and community members that come down and work the gardens and help the plant, weeding and plants and picking what's ripe and all that.
Where's the garden?
Right outside.
There's a garden here. Okay. That's great.
Okay.
Can people in the community come and help or
they can
take a piece of fruit if they need to?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's helping the community once again. So Coho is strategically located in this community.
Yes.
And does it primarily help this part of Conway?
Yes.
Okay. And as more parts of Conway need help, will Coho try to expand to those areas if they can? Or are there other, charitable organizations?
We hope to expand more. Brookside closing has kind of hit us hard, so it may be a little while before we're ready to start expanding out more. And we need to finish assisting those families, making sure that they're okay. And that's kind of our focus right now. But we will get there. We will eventually, and hopefully expand beyond just Faulkner County. Into more of Arkansas to be able to reach more people.
So how are you funded?
We are primarily funded through grants and private donors.
Okay. Is there a place that people can go to find out how to help?
Yeah. They can go to our website, coho58.org.
Why Coho 58? Were there 57 other ones?
No. Coho, kind of our foundation verse is Isaiah 58, specifically 58:12, and I don't have it word for word memorized.
Okay, paraphrase.
But basically, it's that we are the rebuilder of the dwellings and repairs of the streets,
Nice.
and so that's what we are out here to do, is to help the people to rebuild the community and their lives and assist them in any way that they're needing. So that's why it's 58.
Yeah. So how did Coho start?
Phil started Coho about 12 years ago. He took a wrong turn and ended up down here. Didn't even know this community existed. A lot of people, even now, do not know that this neighborhood is back here. While being back here, he felt that he needed to do something to help the community, and so he came out and started preaching. Stood under a tree out here preaching for a couple of years. He didn't have many people that really showed up, but eventually people started coming, and Coho eventually had a trailer back here. and then upgraded to this building, and that trailer was given to one of the guys that was that was assisting at that point in time. He still lives in it.
Wow.
And then from there we just continued to grow.
So who was Phil before this?
See, that's an interview for him.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Hey, Phil, if you're listening, and I hope you are, I'd love to talk to you. And if you want to tell your story, that sounds great. Ambra.
Yeah, I think he would rather tell you who he was before all this.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like there's a story there. And see, you had a story. Everyone has a story. I never know where these are going to go. Yeah. FFA, base, nurse, army, kids, husband that loves you, that's taking care of each other, and you're taking care of people. And you have a slight cold, but you still came and told your story. Anything else you want to tell the people?
Yes.
Please.
We are in the process of trying to build some tiny homes out here.
Yay.
We bought the land, and if you go onto our Facebook page, there's some shirts that we're selling right now.
Okay.
And the money from that is going to help us to build the tiny homes. There's going to be 10 of them, 5 one-bedrooms and 5 2-bedrooms, and they're primarily going to be for homeless, for veterans, to helping them get on their feet. But we are going to be opening it up to low-income and middle-income families as well.
Yeah, I've always said all I need is a little room, and I've seen the town. I don't think I've watched the whole tiny home shows on television, but I'm aware of what they are, and they look like they're functioning. A building, maybe a shed, if you can picture it in your head, but stuffed full of all the things you need to survive. It's a pretty neat thing.
And ours are actually going to be pretty good size for tiny homes.
Yes.
The 1-bedroom is going to be 480 square feet, and the 2-bedroom will be 600 square feet. So it's actually larger than most tiny homes.
Mm-hmm.
But and these are not permanent housing. They are kind of like our Hope Home, but everyone has their own individual home to live in, and which is again getting back to what we're about with human dignity and worth and value. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me.
Okay, I hope you feel better.
One thing I love about them, there's a front porch on each one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for someone that's been out on the streets for a while, or that's been in jail, or has been in prison, having worked as a prison nurse, and hearing the guys talk, about what it's like, being in this cell with someone else and not having their own space. Having that porch to sit on in the mornings and just have your morning cup of coffee is going to be huge for the families that get to stay there. And I can't wait for them to have that opportunity. But it's going to be a process. Case management, people living there. So if they're coming in because they're homeless, then obviously their case management is going to revolve around kind of like the Hope Home. Helping them get a job, helping them to move forward, or. But then there may be situations, and these aren't exact cases, and we'll take this case, but just examples of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You say you have a single mom that's wanting to purchase her first home. Having somewhere like the tiny home village to be able to stay here and get kind of a reprieve from what she's normally paying out each month, we could afford her the opportunity to save up the money to put down on buying her first home. And so case management in that situation would look different than for someone that's homeless. Look more towards the saving of money for purchasing this home.
Yes.
So you have another possibility of a situation of someone who would be low income, middle income that was going to stay there. Would be, say you have a child or a spouse maybe that has cancer, and they're needing to focus on the medical care of that individual. Again, they're getting a reprieve from what their normal rent would be each month by staying in the lower rental amount in the tiny home. Right now, I don't know how much amount's going to be yet.
Yeah.
But again, so they can focus on what's important in their life at that moment, and their case management would revolve around that and the care of that person. There's as many possibilities as there are people. Of why someone would need something like the tiny home to stay in
Yes.
temporarily until they get on their feet for whatever their situation is. But I'm excited to see that built, to see families start moving into those homes, and it's going to take money.
Yes.
And so there are, you can go to our website at coho58.org and make a donation. You can go on there and purchase the T-shirts that we're selling. We're hoping to get started soon on building, and that's what it's going to take to make that happen.
Yes. I want a T-shirt. I definitely want a T-shirt. You got any supersize?
I do not have any of the shirts here with me.
Okay.
We're ordering them. We're actually taking orders right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll definitely put an order in. So, man, and you said it, the dignity of having your own place, your own space, that you can wake up in the morning and you're not touching some other person, a stranger that, if it's your wife or if it's your child, that's one thing. But
right.
If it's another, okay, I see this person all the time and I'm not in love with them, and I don't have that affection for them. Hey, I kind of like you, but I don't want to wake up next to you every day. To have that tiny house, what a great idea. Whose idea was that?
That was Phil's.
Phil, you're the man.
And we do strive for that at our Hope Home as well.
Yes.
We only have 6 men there at a time. It's not a very large shelter, but it's not really a shelter. It's the Hope Home. Again, it's about, this is their home where they live. Not a shelter that's just putting a roof over their head temporarily. And throughout their time there, they're going through the program process, case management of very individualized for their situation.
Right. And types of people, if you can go into that, or that are allowed to be there?
Men.
That are having what problem?
Really, there's not any limitations on it. I mean, the only thing is, we obviously wouldn't, because of our programs with our kids, we can't take anyone in as a pedophile. But other than that, I mean, we really will take in anyone that is needing help.
Struggling with what?
It could be struggling with medical bills. It could be struggling with addiction. I mean, a lot of people assume that drugs and alcohol are really kind of the reasons why people are homeless, but they're really more of a symptom of homelessness than a cause. We see a lot of people that come through there with master's degrees that got sick and needed the surgery, or were temporarily unable to work, and they lost everything and they're trying to rebuild. Some that just lost their jobs. There's so many people in Conway that are one paycheck away from being homeless and don't even realize it.
That is what I was just thinking in my head. You're very insightful.
We're a college town. Rent is expensive. There's a lot of minimum wage jobs, and so many people are just one paycheck away. So we really see almost every type of person you can think of coming through our doors. Yeah. Because it can happen to anyone.
I've been there. The one paycheck and that's it. I'm in the Hope. Please, Hope Home, let me have a space to live in. And I'm glad that you're here for that. That you are providing this service to the community. I'm so appreciative.
Coho has been doing that for a while with the housing, and it's been great for a lot of the guys. And we've even had guys that have graduated the program and then became staff and now work for us as well. So it's
why not? Why not? You came here. Your initial thing for coming here was?
My mental health.
Was the PTSD that you were, and are you feeling better?
I went from barely being able to leave my home to I give presentations at the college to classes, and haven't been doing much of that lately since Brooks has been going on. That's kind of been monopolizing my time lately, but it's very different than I was when I first got here. I was on a walker the day that I showed up here to talk to Phil, because the mental drain was causing physical effects, and it was difficult for me to get around. I was here about a month before I didn't need my walker anymore. Yeah. Just the environment, being around people that are caring and loving, and seeing so many great organizations working together to help people. We all interconnect. There may be a case that someone comes in and I don't have what they need, but I can call Ministry Center and they've got it. And so it takes us all working together to make that happen. And seeing that process and seeing that work really did a lot for me.
Yes.
Because really a lot of what was pulling me down was not being able to see the humanity in the world anymore. Everything that's been going on in our world politically for the past few years had a huge effect on me.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see humanity in people anymore. And Coho gave me that back.
Well, that's good. See, I worked at a hospital, and let's see, I worked in the fire department for 10 years, and then 7 years in the hospital, in the emergency room. I thought every old person was sick. Every old person was sick or dying, or, once you get to age 60, that's it, you're done, you're withering. Those are the only people I saw in those beds. But then I got out of the hospital and I saw, oh, okay, there's an old guy running around the block. He's doing just fine. Whew, there's hope for the rest of us. And you were right about political things in the air and the way things are going. And man, stop tweeting, dude. You don't have to tweet everything you thinking. But and I'm sure his advisors are saying the same thing. Just hold some of that in, man. Just run that through us. Put it through a filter. But I'm sure he's trying to do some good things. I'm sure. I'm sure. I hope. He got the job. Half the country wanted it. I don't know. So, political, right? We can get there. We can go there if you want.
Oh, no, it's probably best if I don't go there.
All right. Any other words for the people? I think we've covered a lot of areas, and
we did.
Tiny houses are coming.
Yes, we need more money to make it happen.
More money.
Yes.
More money. And get to the website, give the money. Buy a T-shirt. That's the easiest thing, right?
Buy a T-shirt. Buy a T-shirt.
And then you'll have a Coho T-shirt. Be one of the cool kids on the block. Represent.
The shirt that we have for sale right now, I believe, is for the podcast that Phil does, Humanity Matters.
Oh.
So the symbol of that and the words on there.
Now I have another podcast to listen to. And I drive around all day long listening to podcasts. What's the name of his podcast?
Humanity Matters.
Humanity Matters. Look that podcast up. Put it in your feed. Subscribe. Give a like. Put a 5-star on the Apple podcast. There you go. Humanity Matters. Have you been on that podcast?
Yes, I listen to his podcast. It's really good. And during election times, local elections, he sits and interviews candidates, and you never actually know who he agrees with and who he doesn't, because it's very unbiased. There's not those gotcha questions, and it's just giving the person a chance, just as we were sitting here talking.
I'll talk to
just say what they need to say, what they believe, what they think, and what they want to do, and all that. And it's very good. Yeah. And he covers a lot of really good subjects, social justice issues and things other times of the year as well, when the elections aren't going on, and it's really good to listen to.
I like that. Yeah, I'll talk to anybody, because people on both sides of the aisle, you want the same things. You want your kids to be healthy. You want food on your plate. You want a roof over your head. We're just trying to get it in different directions.
Right.
Right. We're the same. We're all more the same than we are different.
Exactly.
Except Hitler. That guy was a jerk. All right. Can't believe I mentioned him on the podcast. So, any last words for the people?
No, just visit our site, on our cofda.org, our Facebook page. Come down to our office, however you want to connect with us, and we can get you involved volunteering. We can get you involved with, if you want to be a donor, or if you want a T-shirt.
Yes.
We definitely need people from all different types to come together, in all different ways and manners to come together in order to make everything happen. So just get in touch and we can figure out what works best for you.
Coho58.com?
.org.
.org. That's right. It's an organization.
And they could call our office if they want more information. It's 501-205-1614.
Very good. All right. Can they get a hold of you as well?
To that number?
That's right. Call that number. Don't go looking up Ambra McPeters.
Or they can email me.
Yes.
It's Ambra, AMBRA, Coho, COHO @gmail.com.
Very good. Ambra McPeters, you're the goods. Any last words for the people?
No, I think I said enough last words.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There you have it, party people. Everyone has a story. Ambra McPeters has a story. I never know where these things are going to go. And people ask me all the time, hey, what kind of questions are you going to ask? What are you going to... It's a conversation. It's getting to know you. It's all about you. Yes, sometimes you'll say some things and it'll remind me, oh, wow, that kind of happened in my life too. She didn't know her father. I didn't know my father that well at all, and he passed away and I didn't even know how to feel. So yeah, I've been in that situation. I know that situation, and I'm glad she had her parents, or her mom and her grandparents and, her family. And it seems like she's doing good. And working with the community and helping people out, it's where she's at. After the podcast was over, we walked outside, we talked, she showed me the garden we just talked about. It's right there, right outside the Coho office, right outside the building. You can get some vegetables, some fresh vegetables. The people need to eat. Sometimes people are starving, and for the most part, growing up, I only heard about charity work at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah, that's the only time that homeless people need to eat. That's the only time that people that are hard on their luck need to eat, is twice a year, right? No, they got to have food all year long. So feed the people, stay alive, save the people. And that's what Ambra McMasters is helping to do. And Phil, I want to hear from you, man. I know you got a story. That's excellent that you're helping people out with your Coho, your City of Hope outreach. Check them out at coho58.org. Dig deep, give big. Hey, I'm getting a t-shirt at least. All right, that's it for this podcast. If you want to tell your story, I encourage you. Give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. The world's first TV news helicopter was introduced by KTLA Channel 5 in Los Angeles on July 4th, 1958. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, radiowhat.com.
Follow Keys Dan on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of keysdan.com. Follow Radio What on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of radiowhat.com. The music you want is on.